It seems rather appropriate that we're doing this service outside today, and I want to say hi as well to our 18 folks who are watching us online today. We're glad that you're with us as well. When I was growing up in the 1980s and the 1990s, it seemed rather uncontroversial that something was drastically wrong with the way humans treat the world. Our teachers emphasized it. We heard all the science about the rising temperatures caused by the destruction of the ozone layer. On Earth Day every year, we learned about ways to mitigate the danger to the environment. And on Arbor Day, we were gifted trees to plant because we were told that they would help clean the air around us. I was even part of the conservation club in high school and learning how to be a better steward of the earth. What strikes me is that there is very little controversy over being taught about environmentalism back then, even if it was being simplified for our young minds. Indeed, I saw very little political divide on that issue. Some of the most significant environmental reforms to be passed in my lifetime came during the administration of Republican presidents. Would you believe that the Environmental Protection Agency was formed under the Nixon administration? I didn't grow up hearing about so-called alternative viewpoints casting doubt on the science. It was just accepted that we needed to look for different ways to do things. Today, if you're to believe the news, the tide has shifted. People no longer believe in climate change and doubt whether human-induced environmental changes are really something to worry about. Indeed, climate deniers take up a lot of air on the media, including social media, about climate change. And this, combined with the general helplessness that so many feel in the face of such unmitigated disaster, leads many to simply throw their hands up in resignation. What can I possibly do alone against such a big problem, you may have thought? I know it's a thought I've had more than once. It's easy to despair when it seems like so many just don't care or don't get it. Well, what if I told you you're not alone? What if I told you that there's a lot more people out there who think something should be done about climate change than you think? It's true. A 2020 Pew Research survey found that nearly 2/3 of Americans think that climate change is not only a pressing issue, but believe that Congress should make it a priority to protect the environment and reverse the effects of climate change. And 63% say that stricter environmental regulations are worth the cost that may come with them. If anything, this is an increase over the last 20 years. Perhaps inspired by the probable role that climate change has caused in shifting weather patterns, and even thoughts about whether it had something to do with COVID-19's spread to humans. If the majority of Americans agree that climate change is such a pressing issue, why is the opportunity why is the opposite usually seen as true in today's political landscape? I think the reason can be found in systems theory. You see, you can take a system, any system, and put pressure and anxiety on it. And the system can only take so much anxiety before it breaks. Indeed, it's been said that if you have someone in a system who's doing something, even if you get rid of them, someone will step up to take their place. The American system has always had a lot of anxiety. But between two political parties who can't seem to work together, a pressing pandemic, social justice issues that at times seem unsolvable, climate change is yet another stressor on an overloaded system. Systems theorists believe that a system will fight to maintain equilibrium, and as a result, our system uses unrelated threads to try to bring balance back to the system. From a misuse of Christian theology and the need for politicians to court conservative Christian votes, to the financial interests of multinational corporations and the subsequent super PAC money they can raise, to the feelings of personal powerlessness many people feel around climate change issues, there are plenty of avenues our system takes to try to maintain balance. As a result, it may seem like nothing ever changes, and at best we just get a few symbolic victories here and there in an endless series of defeats. Indeed, people in the helping professions, such as psychologists, therapists, social workers, ministers, and the like, report that an emerging emotional issue many people are experiencing is the existential grief and despair they may feel about the uncertainty of whether there will even be humans to mourn the state of the earth within a few generations. So if you feel overwhelmed about the environment right now, you're not alone. You see, our system is built on a bedrock of human supremacy, a term used by some radical environmentalists to refer to the way that we often use the earth and the things on it without regards for the ecosystem or the beings on it, or the way we destroy delicate balances without a second thought, or even the way we need these balances. This is in contrast to earlier times when people generally lived in cooperation with the planet, not taking more than they needed at any one time, not hoarding excess, and getting to know what was needed from the world to continue to exist in harmony. By contrast, today, we tear down entire forests, strip off mountains, the tops of mountains, take the minerals from mines until they're bare, and pump all sorts of pollutants into the soil, air, and water. There's no sense of an understanding that if we continue these actions, we may eventually have no place to live, that our very existence could be threatened because we're forgetting that we are an interdependent part of this place we are destroying. That's why when the Social Action Committee decided to make environmental justice the focus of our 2021-2022 justice theme at AUUF, I threw all my support behind their efforts, because I am convinced that this is one of the most, if not the most, urgent societal issues we can confront, and we must soon if we hope to survive. I believe that it will take good people like us, both examining the issues involved and taking action, to be able to shift the system towards human cooperation rather than domination. If we hope to shift towards a way of living that won't threaten the very planet we hold dear. I know with some of you I'm preaching to the choir. I know that with some of you, you've already done a lot. And we're going to keep doing that. Part of that shift is going to be taking more action to pressure leaders to do the right thing when it comes to climate change. to take steps to prevent future climate catastrophe rather than worrying about the next time they're up for re-election. This will be difficult. As we've very much seen, environmental justice has become a partisan issue rather than an urgent bipartisan one. And there's evidence that such bipartisanship was never exactly equally laid, even in the early days of the movement. It is definitely a left versus right issue, one that will be our downfall if we continue to allow political bickering to stymie action. But I want us to go further than that. You see, I think what may also be needed is a reconnection to the earth and everything on it. Modern society has so disconnected us with the ground of being that we coexist with. There is no other place. It's easy to forget that this planet, this big blue dot out in space, is the only place for us to live. When we forget where we come from, it can be very easy to forget the importance of preserving this home. Environmentalist John Muir put it this way: most people are on the world, not in it, have no conscious sympathy or relationship to anything about them, undiffused, separate, and rigidly alone, like marbles of polished stone, touching, but separate. Spiritual writer Stephen Chase suggests that we view nature as a spiritual practice, an opportunity to reawaken to what is sacred or important in our lives. That is part of what I'll be focusing on this year, creating opportunities for us to reconnect with this place we call home, to realize that every moment offers the opportunity to reconnect with the world around us, to remember what is important in every moment, and stay tuned for more opportunities on that. I've got some things in mind that are exciting. As environmental educator Joanna Macy puts it, the heart that breaks open can contain the whole universe. So with all this in mind, I want to do an activity with you right now. You're all so quiet today, we're going to find some ways for us to all connect. It's one you can do whether you're here with me right now in the fellowship or watching virtually. This activity is adapted from Joanna Macy's work that reconnects, which strives to help people connect with the world and find ways to both grieve our current environmental destruction and take action. In this activity, Macy says that it's so easy to take the things and beings in our lives for granted. Then it helps to move back a little, to gain a bit of distance, in order to glimpse how precious and how uniquely real they are. As with a quick turn of the lens, we see with fresh appreciation. So that's what we're going to do right now. We're going to change our lenses, even if you're not wearing glasses. I want you to put to the side for a moment any concerns you might have about the state of the world. Now, I want you to, wherever you are, look around. Find something in the environment that catches your eye. A tree, a flower, an animal. You might find it beautiful. You might be curious about it, or there might be something about it that reminds you about something from your life. If you're watching from home, you might need to move so that you can see out a window. Now breathe with me a moment as you watch the thing that caught your eye. Now, with the thing in mind that you picked in mind, I want you to consider what you love about living here on earth. It could be related to the thing that you focused on, or it could be unrelated. All that's important is that you have something you love about living in our world. As you think of what you love about living on this planet, I want to invite you to condense it down to a short phrase or a word. And if you're with us in person, call out what you thought of. If you're watching online, share it in the YouTube chat box. So call out in a sentence or a few phrases as you feel comfortable. What do you love about living on Earth?
Flowers. Connection.
Many branches. Potatoes. Chocolate. The green. Fruit roll. Shine.
Butterfly.
Persistent grass. The ocean.
Thank you all. Now I want you to think about what you love about the humans of planet Earth. If you don't feel like you can hold all the humans on planet Earth in this moment, you might want to focus on a few people that bring you joy. I hope at least someone brings you joy if you're here. So once again, I want you to condense it down to a short phrase or word, and if you're with us in person, call out what you love about humans. If you're watching online, share it in the YouTube chat box.
Congratulations. Laughter.
Joy.
Story insight.
Thank you all. Finally, I want you to now think about what you're grateful for in being yourself. That could be something you like about yourself. It could be an accomplishment. It could be something else entirely. As long as it's something you like about yourself, it's okay. Now again, I want to invite you to condense it down to a short phrase or a word. If you're watching online, share it in the YouTube chat box. If you're here in person, call out what you like about yourself.
Gracious. Compassion.
Empathetic.
Sense of humor.
Blessings to all the responses today. If you did this activity with me, you just reconnected with the earth, with the humans on it, and with yourself. I hope that being reminded about the things that you love about this planet and at least some of the beings on it gives you motivation to want to protect the planet more. And you can do this activity anytime you're feeling really discouraged. We'll be talking more about reconnecting with ourselves and the planet in the coming months. But I hope that this gives you a nice introduction to the power of remembering why you love this place. Use these contemplations. Make them your own. There was a slogan going around during the 2019 climate strike. There is no planet B. May we, as progressive citizens of conscience, remember the importance of defending our planet, and may we work to ensure its continued survival for many generations to come. May it be so.